Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to have a look at portable PA speakers. We're going to be looking at a setup, be you a musician, DJ, entertainer, there'll be something for you in this, and we're going to look at all budgets. So we're going to start off really budget and end up really high end and pick my favorite speakers in each of these categories, the things I would pick if I had that much money. Now we're going to try and avoid subwoofers. This is just going to be tops. I've kind of set myself that these need to be portable. These are for people who are going to a gig weekly basis. They need to be moving these around. So we're not going to go too heavy. We're not going to go 15s. We're not going to go too small because we're trying to avoid those subwoofers. So we're probably going to go for 12s. For the most part, this is going to be 12-inch speakers. There's a couple wildcards in there, but for the most part, quality 12-inch speakers you can get your hands on today that will set you up for at least the next few years. So let's crack into it. So to start off, we're going to go super budget. And this speaker actually comes in two options. One is a bit cheaper, but I would push you to go for this one. It's the Box Pro DSX 112. Now there is this exact speaker, but in a GPR, plastic enclosure type thing, which is a lot cheaper. It's identical to the almost identically named Behringer model. So if you're in the States, then that is completely an option. It's got all the same things, but like I said, just in a plastic box. But I would push you to go for this one. It's probably 50 quid more. And for that, you get a wooden box. That means it's going to be more durable. And that means it's going to have better low end. And the second one is probably the more important one of the two, because you don't want to use a sub. And if you don't want to use a sub, you want a wooden box, in my opinion. Now, a few of these aren't going to have wooden boxes, but for this price, I think it's quite frankly amazing. Do I know if it sounds good? No, but I've got a good inkling. It comes with a 3-year warranty. You can send it back if it doesn't. It's got a 2000 watt amplifier and it's got a fairly extensive range of DSP. So that would be my go-to if you've got a super budget, pick up that speaker. It's probably going to do you well for at least 3 years. And if it doesn't, you get a new one anyway. The next one up is still fairly budget, but it's a well-known speaker that I'm sure you've all heard of, and that's the Mackie Thump 212. Now, this puts out a good amount of output. Like I said, it's a fairly big brand that we all know quite well. It's only about 70 or 80 pounds more than the box that we just talked about, which isn't really a brand, it's Foman's own brand. But it's kind of reputable. I know friends who run the Thumps, and I know people who hate the Thumps. They've got kind of a Marmitey effect on people, that's fine. But I know people who've run these for many years and have only good things to say about them. They're light, they are a plastic box, but for the most part, most people say they've got plenty of low end, so that's pretty useful, I guess, if you don't want to sub. Next up is the Yamaha DZR 12. Now, this speaker is about 450 quid, so it's about £100 jump from our Thumps. Still a plastic box, but this time we've got Yamaha's 4-year warranty, which is super useful. And they're really good with that as well, in my experience. Yeah, it comes with a 4-year warranty, plastic box, pretty basic on the DSP. Like even our first pick has got more advanced DSP than this one, but you're getting a solid box that's probably going to last a lifetime. I know people who chuck around these DBRs as monitors and back of house kind of speakers, and for the most part, they all survive. So you can't go wrong with a Yamaha DZR. We know they sound good, we know they work well, and they've got the warranty. So it's probably a pretty wise choice if you've got £1,000 to buy two tops. Now we're going to jump up in price by another £100 now, and we're going to look at the RCF Art 912A. Now, despite its rather annoying name, I went for this speaker over its 712 counterpart, which is quite a bit cheaper, just because it's got a more mainstream look. Now, it also has a better and more powerful power amp, but the look is very much what we would expect from a speaker, a black box, rectangle, we all know what we're looking at, whereas the 712 has a bit more of that RCF look, where you can see the molded plastic. And I think it's worth this jump. I think it's worth paying the £550 for the 912. It's probably a better sounding speaker and it looks a lot better on stage. Now you may have noticed up until this point, and really in general I guess for this, that I'm not going to talk about the sound of the speaker too much. Sound is really subjective, and for the most part you're going to want to go and listen to these speakers. But if you're mixing audio, if you are doing front of house, you are probably going to EQ these speakers anyway. So our goal really is a speaker that has the output that we need and the flexibility that we need. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Not something that colors the sound too much, something that is nice and flexible and gets us the output that we would need to do a concert. And next up is a rather premium brand, HK Audio. Now they make the PRO brand, or the Pro brand, and we're going to be looking at the 112. It comes in the FD2, which is kind of your front of house speaker, and the XD2, which is a monitor. It can be a monitor or front of house. Pick whichever one you like. I think they're both really good choices. If you're just using it for front of house, then you'll get a little bit more low end out of having that bigger box, so it's probably worth going for that. If you want that flexibility, go for the monitor one. I've heard these time and time again. They are awesome sounding speakers. A little bit limited on the DSP, a bit like our Yamaha we spoke about earlier, but they have loads of power. They've got great low end. They are wooden boxes, so this is kind of like the return of the wooden box. This is why it surprised me so much to see that Foreman with a wooden box. This is kind of our first point of hitting wooden boxes again, and they are really rugged little speakers. They don't weigh much, they're super portable. I think this is probably my choice. I think this is great value for money. I think if I'm telling most people to buy their first speaker, this is probably the one I tell them to buy. Either the Yamaha or this. I think they're just awesome for what you get. And they also do some really compact little 2x10 subs in this range, which are probably pretty useful if you want to just add a little bit of low end, but you don't want to carry around a huge amount of stuff. Now it's time for the first of the Wildcards, and what we're going to go for here are tower speakers. Now, I know a lot of people don't like towers. I've actually had really good experience with towers for the most part. You have to not expect too much out of them, I guess. They are a beast of their own. That's why they've got this separate section in this review. And I'm going for either the DB Technology ES503 or the RCF Evox J8. Now, I actually preferred the old wooden box of the Evox range, the Evox 8. And if you can get one of those, amazing. I've been trying to get one for ages and I cannot get them to save my life. But if you can get one of those Evox 8s, I think they're great little speakers. So given the option of the free, I would actually pick that one as my first option. And then probably followed by the DB Tech. I've used the 802 quite extensively, and we're going to do a review of that on here at some point. But the 802 is great. I can only imagine the 503 being better. It's got that DSP, it's got a little bit more control. So I would go for the 503s, I would get two of those. They're really affordable. They're probably the most affordable overall setup out of all of the setups we're going to talk about today, because you get a sub and a top. The sub's relatively punchy, it's not especially low, but it's more than usable. It's a great little speaker. If you need something that is full range and transportable, I would probably go with the DB Tech if you can get hold of one. And there is that other option. You can use the 503 as a single speaker and the top split out to do a stereo. So you've got a lot of flexibility out of the 503. Now, the reason why you might not want to go down this route is that they lack flexibility. You can't really make them any bigger or more powerful. Like you could if you had two tops, you can add one sub, two subs, 4 subs, and get a whole lot more power out of them. And the other problem is they really don't have the throw that you would expect from a single top. So if you put a single 12-inch top up in the air and then you put one of these towers next to it, it's going to throw far less well, but equally you'll get a lot more of a better blended sound in the kind of close and mid-range. So if you're trying to just hit a fairly small group of people, like in a pub, then this could be a great speaker. If you're trying to use this outdoors to lots of people, then maybe not a great choice. So we're now going to hit the kind of big boy pro money. If you've got a good whack of cash, about $2,000 to spend on a pair of speakers, these are what you might be looking at. And my choices for this are the EKX 12P and the RCF NX 912. I really had to think about what those numbers were then. So yeah, the RCF 912 in the NX series, which of course is a wooden box, and the EKX 12P, which again is a wooden box. So we're keeping it wooden. The weight is going to come up, but actually both of these are relatively light for what they are. They've got powerful power amps that can make them spread for very large groups of people. I mean, these two tops, I think you could probably put under up to 4 subs and get a really powerful system out of them. They have good manufacturer's warranty, and the choice is going to be a personal one in the sound more than likely with these two. The other factor that you might have is if you're over the pond in the States, then EV parts are much easier to get than RCF parts, although I think that's probably changing a bit now. And the same goes for us over here. It's much easier to get RCF from Italy than it is to get EV from America, although we do have a few distributors of EV parts as well. I've had to fix my ELXs before and it actually wasn't too difficult to get those parts. So those might be factors when you're going to buy these. My kind of outlier here is these are both the same price as the Yamaha DZRs, which come with a 7-year warranty, which is amazing, but they are plastic boxes. They are very simple in the DSP. They're not really the same beast as these two, although the RCF is pretty simple in its DSP as well. But if you want to save some weight, the Yamaha is quite light for its size, so yeah, it might be a choice for you. And our more high-end speaker we're going to have a look at, that would probably be my choice, is the HK Audio. Again, it's the Linear 5 Mark II. Now, I've got a lot of friends who use the Linear 5 Mark I, and they've got nothing but good words to say about it. I've heard it multiple times. I think it's a great sounding speaker. It's got almost infinite power, and again, you can chuck as many subs as you like under these boxes. They are just super well fit for an ever expanding amount of gear. So if you're looking at making a really big rig at some point, these could be the perfect first start. Now, the downside is they are quite heavy for a 12-inch box. They are a lot heavier than some of the partners, like that EKX is almost 10 kilos. It actually might be over 10 kilos lighter than the HK Audio. So there's a reason why you might still go for the EV over the HK. But if you're really serious, if you're looking at making a big rig, then I can thoroughly recommend the Linear 5s. I know they're great speakers. You could push to the Linear 7s if you wanted to, or if you want to spend a little bit less cash, you could come down to the Linear 3s. But HK make a really nice range of good looking boxes that are powerful. And I think it's probably your best choice if you're just looking for a expandable rig. The Linears are probably the way I might go. When I bought my tops, they weren't available in the UK, or I probably would have actually had the Linears at that point. Of course, it's also worth noting that if you are looking in a more professional setting, the Linears do come with the equipment to fly them. So they've got all the kind of internal reinforcements so that you can fly these boxes up into the air, which might be an important factor for you. But the DSP is pretty simple. But again, if you're professional, you're probably not touching that. You're probably doing all of that at the desk, and the DSP is kind of really more of an amateur thing at this level. Right, and before we hit our most expensive box, we're going to do my final wild card. We're going to look at battery powered speakers. For some people, I'm talking about buskers and people who do wedding ceremonies, or generally they do stuff away from power. A battery powered speaker is far more important than a heavy, bulky, needing power, sounds great speaker. That's not to say these speakers sound bad, but they are a completely different category to everything else. Now I think there's kind of two choices here. There is the tried and tested Bose S1. They actually do the Pro Plus now, I think it's called, which has 2 wireless transmitters in it. It's got built-in effects. It's got kind of everything you would need in a battery powered speaker. And I think it's probably still a really great choice for those people who are doing that kind of busky musician thing, but they want some reinforcement. It's absolutely perfect. The new one on the scene, and the one that you'll probably see pushed over YouTube everywhere, is the Mackie Showbox. Now Mackie, we've talked about them before here. They make a good speaker. They are a well-known good brand. I mean, they were made by RCF at some point, so you know, you're talking about a brand that's trusted in that extent. But these are both unique, and maybe the Mackie is the most unique because it comes in with a built-in Bluetooth playback like the Bose, but also an external mixer which slides out, plugs into your speaker where you've plugged everything else in, and it's a really neat way of having full control over your mix while you perform. And I can see that being so useful for a lot of these busking musicians who really want to carry the least amount of stuff because they're already carrying a huge amount of stuff. So having a speaker that's got a built-in mixer, I can't imagine many people being upset with that. I think it's a really great option. I think it's a really smart option from Mackie. I would probably go with this just because of that option. And the other thing that it allows you to do is it works as a USB audio interface. So if you're looking to live stream your busking, I can imagine this being super useful because you can live stream and busk. You're kind of busking to the world and to the people in front of you all at once. And it's super simple. You can just plug it into your phone. You've got your audio that's being mixed. You've even got a headphone output so you can have in-ear monitors and hear yourself properly. I think this is the best option on the market if you are that kind of musician, simply because of convenience. Okay, we've got there. We're talking about super high-end speakers now. We're talking about tops that are going to cost you well in the region of £3,000 to £4,000 maybe. And I'm not going to suggest any, because there is no real answer for this one. I'm sure you were waiting for me to say just a random brand, but actually a lot of these brands, you know, we're talking about Opus, Martin, Nexo, Seabird, like they're all great brands. They all make a really good speaker. They all make quality speakers. Why you would take my input on them, I don't know. You need to go listen to them. If you're spending this much on a box, you really need to listen to it. It isn't something to listen to my camera audio. It isn't something that's easy. Even if I had the top quality monitoring microphone, you shouldn't be listening to it on your phone. You know that, I know that. Why are you doing this? So don't take my opinion. Pick one, go listen to it. I am 100% sure no matter which one you go for, you will end up with a really great sound. I mean, a lot of the brands that I've talked about previously also creep into this market now. RCF, obviously Yamaha own Nexo. These companies are all there in this market, but when you're paying £3,000 a speaker, they're probably going to sound good. There's no real two-way about that. So just go out and listen to them. Go find a place. It doesn't matter which brand. Go find one that you can listen to. Go listen to it. If you like it, buy it. So before we wrap up, there are some outliers that I haven't spoken about that you've probably seen in every other video. So let's talk about them. So first up, we have QSC. Now, I love QSC desks. I run a TouchMix 30. I think it's a great desk. We're going to do a video about that soon. But the speakers for me are quite harsh sounding. They're really usable. They're really light. You know, they're really transportable. And a lot of people push them because they're really loud as well. But there is a real harshness that I really can't get past. I almost bought them multiple times, but just could not get past that harshness that they produce at high volume. And I'm talking about the K series here, to be clear. I haven't actually heard their wooden boxes, they may be much better, but I'm talking about those K series of speakers that you always see, the K.2s. I just can't really recommend them when I think there are better things for the same money or less. Alto's another brand that I'm sure you've seen in loads of these videos, and I think Alto had a really good range at one point. I would have probably put them in these videos, but their reliability has really fallen in recent years. And if you're buying a new speaker, I just can't recommend Alto without thinking deep inside that there might be an issue, that it might not last that long. But it is the kind of price range where if it were to die, I guess you could just buy a new one. So, like I said, I can't really recommend them, but I think they're a powerful, great speaker in some cases. So I wouldn't say don't buy them. I just can't recommend them. And the one you're probably, if you've seen my other video, all shouting about is the Yamaha DZRs. Now there's a 10 and a 12 inch on this, and there's a 15 inch and a double 15 as well, actually, I think, which all could be really great choices. But I've had a couple issues with my 10 inch DZRs that I'm going to get into in a later video, but I just don't find I can recommend the 10, and I haven't heard the 12. So I think there are probably better choices for that same sort of money as the 12 inch now. They've also come up a huge amount since I bought them. So yeah, it puts them into a kind of different league. So that's it for today's rundown. Hopefully you've seen things that you expect to see. Hopefully you've seen a couple things that you've never seen before, and you can go and research and see if they are fit for your purpose. Which speaker would you pick? What fits your budget? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, drop me a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to see some more gear reviews and general audio discussions. And until next time, see you later.